guys, welcome to another video from Cichlid Bros. Today we're going to be doing a local fish store tour of the Aquarium Adventure in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, which is in the suburbs of Chicago. I had never been to this location before, but after seeing their massive tanks and the fish, I knew I had to share this on the channel with you. This could have been a 3-hour video, but I cut down all these clips to give you the highlights, so I think you'll really enjoy it. We'll start with the freshwater setups, followed by brackish, and then ending with saltwater aquariums. And one last thing before we dive in, we're going to start giving a shout out to relatively new or upcoming channels at the beginning of our videos each week. And today, that is NW Aquahobby. We'll put the link to this channel in our description below. We talked to Will, and he's a great guy, putting on a lot of great content that I think you really like. He specializes in low-tech planet aquariums, smaller fish, and aquarium science. He's doing a lot of great work, so after you watch this video, consider going over to his, checking out his videos, and subscribing. And with all that being said, let's go see some fish, and let's dive right in. Okay, so here we go, guys. We have Aquarium Adventure. And I'm going to start off with the biggest tanks they have right away. This is their 1,500 gallon South American Cichlid tank. When I walked in and saw this tank, my jaw just dropped. Not only is this amazing, but right across the hall is their other 1,500 gallon aquarium setup. So within this tank first, it's South Americans. There's a handful of Oscars, some Midas, some red-spotted Severums there, a red terror, a huge electric blue Acara, and then this Giardini arowana. Some of these fish are known to be very aggressive in smaller aquariums, but I think they work very well when they're in a huge setup like this. And this is a red terror or a feste. This appears to be a male because his stripes are a little more washed out. The females typically keep brighter coloration. These Oscars weren't full grown yet, but they were clearly loving the space and they're swimming all around the aquarium. And this is the largest electric blue Acara that I have ever seen personally. This guy was every bit of 8 inches long. A lot of information online or even care guides say that these guys only max out at 6 inches, but in the right situation, they will grow very large. And then right behind me is their other 1,500 gallon aquarium. This has a really cool rock background, and it only houses one Redtailed Catfish. Just goes to show how much room these guys need as well. With the amount of massive tanks that were at this store, I actually felt like I was at a city aquarium versus a local pet store. This was another favorite aquarium. It appeared to be about 300 gallons and it only had 4 fish in it. One was the gold Som or green terror. The other was a jaguar cichlid, which was just beautiful, followed by the Zebrina pike. This guy was just a stunner, and it just shows how big these guys really get. We're going to put cards in the upper right hand corner for some of the care guides and species profiles we've done whenever relevant throughout the video. The next aquarium was bowed inward, which was really cool, and it had a colony of Tropheus, which are African cichlids, and had a really cool rock aquascape. Again, this tank was probably 300 gallons or larger. And right behind this tank was a tank full of Redbellied Piranha. And these guys were very, very big, and they had some huge teeth on them. Just look at the coloration and the teeth on this guy. Next, I would guess this tank is about 250 gallons and had some really big fish in it, including a clown knife, a pike cichlid, a catfish, and also some bichers. Next we have a flower horn. This was a super red dragon. He was selling for $150, so definitely an expensive fish. I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner if you would like to see our female flower horn that's currently in our classroom aquarium. And this was maybe my favorite fish I saw all day. I actually didn't know what it was because it was an African cichlid. It's actually from the rivers in Africa, not one of the rift lakes like you would see from your haps, peacocks, and mbuna. And here's just a view of all the different rows of tanks they have here. They're stacked 3 high and they just go on for days. They had some awesome predator haps that were actually pretty decent in size, including this Malawi eyebiter. If you saw our last video, you'll know that we have a very, very small Malawi eyebiter, and we cannot wait for him to look like this very soon. They also had a few others in here, including Venusis, Borlei, and some others that were just stunners. I just love the coloration on these guys. And our predator haps will look like this very soon, so we can't wait. And you can't forget about the mbuna. Some of these were actually pretty large, about 6 inches long, which is definitely big for an mbuna. Next we had some beautiful juvenile frontosa. There's also a gold copperceps there in the middle. Then you have a few of the Julies. Again, I believe that's a coppercep in the middle. There's just rows and rows of tanks here. I was completely overwhelmed and loving every minute of it. There's some more planet aquariums in the middle, also huge aquariums. And now we're getting into some of my favorite, the Central and South American cichlids. First off, the electric blue Jack Dempsey's here. They do have awesome color even when they're young. But you just gotta be careful. They have been known to be hard to keep alive and grown into adults, but when you do see a full-grown adult, they are beautiful. They had a lot of different types of Severums, which is one of my favorite fish, and also the electric blue Acaras here. They had some really good size on them. They're about as big as my bigger electric blue Acara in my 75-gallon tank. Here's a tiny Jurupari. I have one of these in my 75-gallon tank that is about 7 inches long. It was just really cool to see how small this guy was. This Albini here was the same size and color of Sal, who was in our 75-gallon classroom aquarium. Note in the upper right-hand corner. And here are some other pretty large tanks holding angelfish, tetras, and some other pike cichlids. I believe these are 125-gallon aquariums as well. And I know we showed a large clown knife earlier. Here's a juvenile, however, it's still pretty big. It was about 7 inches long. And now we're getting into the brackish aquariums. Some of my favorites were these little puffers. They're all different types. And I think hands down the favorite was this Oaxaca puffer. If you're watching this channel, you likely watch the King of DIY as well. Shout out to Tyrese, the Oaxaca puffer. These guys were less than an inch long in comparison. So one thing to note is that there is an Aquarium Adventure in another location. And we actually got some driftwood from them during Black Friday. If you did a video on that, we'll put it in the upper right-hand corner. It was another really great store. This one right here we really like for some of the massive aquariums. And as you'll see, some of these tanks are huge and they're on sale. We're likely going to get our huge tank from one of the Aquarium Adventures, and we can't wait to show you the progress there. Next we have some German blue rams, along with some different cories. I thought some of these different cory species were really cool. And for those of you that really are into goldfish, they had rows and rows of different goldfish aquariums set up. We're not going to show all of these today, but they definitely had a good selection. And then I thought this setup here was really cool. It looks like a big paludarium, and there's some archer fish down at the bottom. And now we're getting into some of the saltwater aquariums. They had a good amount of saltwater aquariums that were large tanks. One held this queen sugarfish, which is about 3 or 4 feet long. And then you have this huge tank here, which I would guess is about 500 gallons, right next to a tank holding clownfish. That was another 400 gallons or so. Here's a pretty cool lionfish up there. I'm not going to pretend to know all the saltwater species here. Freshwater's always been my area of expertise, but the fish here were very, very big and beautiful, and it really made me want to think about getting a saltwater aquarium at some point. And then kind of as you're starting to walk towards the exit here, you have a couple tanks and then a lounge area that just shows a couple examples of in-wall aquariums, just to give some inspiration, which was pretty cool. I would probably turn the furniture directly to the aquariums, but that's just me. And then right here at the exit is a beautiful koi pond. I really like this. And that does it. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed walking through the store. We want to thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.